I'm with Carbon Washington because it's a solutions-based organization. We're only focused on one thing, and that's to institute climate policy, effective climate policy, as soon as possible.
I believe in CarbonWA because it's our future that's on the line. And if our elected officials can't do what's necessary to stop the crisis, then we'll gladly take it on ourselves.
I like the fact that Carbon Washington is a very multifaceted campaign. It looks at social justice, it looks at environmental change.
In the eyes of many economists, myself included, the best climate policy in the world is just to our north in the Canadian province of British Columbia, where they have a carbon tax. The revenue is used to reduce income taxes for individuals and corporations up in British Columbia. It's successfully reduced carbon emissions in the 6 years that it's been in place. The economy is doing great. So the policy here in Washington State would be to have a carbon tax, and the revenue from the carbon tax would mostly go to reduce the state sales tax by a full percentage point. What this would mean for most people in Washington State is you'd pay a little bit more for fossil fuels and you'd pay a little bit less for everything else. There are also specific portions of the revenue that go to help low-income working households and energy-intensive businesses in the state.
Taxing carbon will give consumers a better understanding of the true costs of using carbon. And unless it's priced, no one's going to have an incentive to change.
One thing that is great about Carbon Washington is it's really appeals to both sides of the political spectrum. You know, we've got the Seattle Business Magazine who's endorsed us. We've got Dennis Hayes.
Both my parents are from the small island nation of Mauritius. And when we're thinking about the future of Mauritius, my grandparents' home may be underwater by the end of the century.
Climate change and social justice in my mind are very similar. When you look at areas that people of color tend to live in, they tend to be more polluted areas.
When we think about reduced air pollution because we're not burning as much fossil fuels, then those are really important effects because that leads to less air pollution, which causes cancer, which causes asthma.
Us in the Pacific Northwest, we're so connected to our landscape, and we really believe in preserving our salmon, our fisheries, our mountains. And if we don't address climate change, then we can't do that.
Part of being a grassroots organization is getting the people involved, and we really need everyone to just do a little bit to help support the campaign.
Our first task is to collect 315,000 signatures to qualify for the ballot. And we'll be collecting from April until December of 2015. So we're asking everyone to help us raise at least $10,000 to hire a part-time staff member, but ideally we need $20,000 to hire an additional full-time staff organizer. So if each person can give $10, $20, $50, whatever you can give, it helps us get there to support the volunteers that are already there and eager to get to work.
When I talk to the dozens and dozens of people my age, I see the looks on their face and they're ready to jump in.
My big thing is why wait? I mean, it's a perfect time. 2016 is a presidential election year and voter turnout is always way bigger than, and I think that's a really great opportunity that we can't miss.